All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. It's another episode of the Corporate Life Show with McAden. I'm so sorry. Yes, pardon us for the delay. Today, instead of starting 7 o'clock, we're starting there, so minutes past 8. Yes, we have some technical issues to, quickly handle before we could and successfully come live on your screen. And as usual, I'm your host. My name is Adeniyi Macarthy. You can call me McAden. I'm your host at the Corporate Life Show with McAden, and today is a special edition of the show. We're discussing a very important topic on the show tonight, and we would like you to stay tuned. We would like you to enjoy the conversation and learn. And as you learn, please share with us your own views, in your own opinion, what you think about what we're discussing tonight. And remember, the topic we're considering tonight is a very important one. Every professionals need, I mean, need to to understand this. Every professional needs the knowledge, for him or her to be able to to be able to successfully grow his or her business. And that's why we're considering this topic tonight. No one is an island of knowledge, and that's why tonight we'll be learning from an expert who will be sharing with us insights from tonight's conversation. Please feel free to join us in the conversation. Drop your comment, drop your opinion, your thoughts, and let's have the conversation. Remember, tonight we'll be looking at understanding the best practices for boosting business growth through grants. And of course, you have the topic there on the show. One thing I will also say to you tonight is that you can follow us on our social media platform at Corporate Live with McAden on LinkedIn, Corporate Live with McAden on YouTube, Corporate Live with McAden on Facebook, Corporate Live with McAden on Instagram and on TikTok. Yes, we're on those platforms, and soon we will be activating our platform on X, on SpaceX. Yeah, so please do follow us and let's know what you think about this conversation we've been having on the show. And more interesting conversation will be coming up your way on the show in the coming months, and more interesting ideas are coming up on the show. Please stay tuned. But tonight we're focusing on understanding best practices for boosting business growth through grant. And tonight I will not be discussing this alone. I have a guest in the house who will be doing this with us, and his name is a specialist in this field. So he has done this as a business. He's doing this as a business, and he has done it for a couple of clients to aid their business growth. And tonight, join me and welcome Mr. Israel Alabi. Will be dealing with conversation. The topic of the conversation we have tonight, Mr. Alabi. How do you do?
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm doing very great. I'm so
All
excited to be
right.
on the show tonight. Thanks for
Yeah,
having me
yeah,
here.
yeah. And thank you once again for staying tuned. It's been a back and forth with network issues and other technical challenges that we were facing earlier. And then you've been able to stay till this time. And thank you once again. We appreciate you. I will say a very big thank you to you. So we'll be diving straight into the conversation for what we have tonight. And before we go on asking you questions around those things that we want to deal with tonight, as against understanding best practices when it comes to grant writing and the likes. So, what is your own opinion about grant entirely? What's your opinion?
All right. So when it comes to grant funding, believe that there is grant for almost every kind of business.
Mm,
So whatever your level of business, whatever the kind of business you are doing, there is likely a grant for you.
mm,
That's the first thing that I want to put down. The second thing is that you need to disabuse your mind of preconceptions, of misconceptions. I've seen
mm.
people that will tell you blatantly, like, you can never get grants if you are not working in the government. You can never get grants if you are not a member of a political party.
Okay,
So
it's
some
like
persons are like that.
there's another device connecting in the studio. Maybe you should check your hand. I think there's another device connecting. Check your laptop, please. So why you do that?
All
You
right.
may have to. Okay, I think
Yeah, it
that's
is
settled.
sorted. Yeah.
Okay, thank
All
you.
right. So you need to remove that misconception that grant is just for some specific set of people, or grant is just for some special people.
Hmm.
Remove that from your mind. Grant is for every entrepreneur. Grant is for every business owner that is willing to do the work, that is willing to work in line with the rules of the game.
Hmm.
So those are the things that I'm going to
Thank
talk about.
Thank you very much. I love that intro. Grant is for every entrepreneur that is willing to do the work. And you, it seems as though you are talking from the scripture. The scripture makes us to understand that faith without work is nothing. Thank you very much. So you must be willing to do the work. If you are ready to do the work, you will get a grant. Actually, yes, I'm so sorry about that. It seems there are some element that doesn't want us to have the conversation tonight. And whether they like it or not, we're going to have this conversation and we're going to share this knowledge for the benefit of those entrepreneurs out there. Because with the way we started, it started off on a good note. Because not everyone believes that they have the chance of what, the chances of getting a grant out there. But tonight we're going to change the narrative because we believe that there's a grant for you. And guess what? We will have this conversation no matter what the network, how the network want to frustrate us. Yes. And talking about having a conversation, we will just go on. I mean, we go on and on, having those questions for Mr. Of course, Mr. Alabi in the house here tonight. And Mr. Israel, please, let's start so that we keep to time as much as possible. Let's keep to time. So we're going to look at the first question. What is grant?
Right. Can I answer the question? All right. I don't know if you can hear me. If we can know if you are hearing me, I would have just gone ahead to answer the first question.
All right, back once again. I'm back. So let me, Mr. Uh, Israel, to answer the question as earlier mentioned. So, Mr. Israel,
All
over to
right.
you. Can you hear me,
That's
please?
all right. Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me too?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead, please.
All right. So what is a grant? So grant is a form of funding, a source of capital to an organization. And grant is a form of funding that is given to an organization to achieve a specific purpose. So when we are talking about grant funding, it is a form of funding, it is a form of aid, a form of financial aid that is given to an organization to achieve a specific purpose. So in that definition of ours, we can see that grant is a form of financial aid to support an entrepreneur, to support them in their journey. That's the first thing. And it is given to an entity, a registered entity to achieve a specific purpose. So when we hear about grant funding opportunities that don't have any purpose, maybe they just come to meet you and they tell you, oh, just fill this form. You ask them, what what am I going to use the grant for? They say anything. What do you have in mind? There is no purpose. You already know that that is not the kind of funding that we are talking about. But the kind of grants that we are talking about tonight, there's a specific purpose. So maybe it is to cushion the effect of inflation in Nigeria. Maybe it's to assist farmers, smallholder farmers in Nigeria. Maybe it's to help small business owners or micro business owners. Maybe it's to help medical startups to serve more pregnant women. So there is a purpose to that grant. So that is what a grant is all about. Now, why is it essential for business growth? Now, there are some goals, there are some objectives that you want to achieve as a business that you can't do alone. The financial implication of those goals is massive and you can't bear it yourself. That is why you need to look for different sources of capital. And grant funding it's a source of capital, one of the many sources of capital for your organization. And then because grant funding, and a unique attribute of grant funding is you don't pay it back. So because you don't pay grants back, it helps you to it gives you that cushion, that strength, that backup to be able to take some risk that you would not have been able to take if you went for maybe loan funding, for instance. or debt funding, whatever it is, you won't be able to take those risks because you have to pay back. So you have to be very careful that the capital is secure and also the interest on the capital is also secure. But because of grant funding, it is a form of patient capital. So you can take the risk because you know that, even if everything goes wrong, at least I know that I've been able to experiment, I've taken the chance, we've been able to study the market, we've understood what the market is telling us, and we can take better actions another time. So that is why grant funding is really, really important. If you want to scale your business, if you want to grow beyond the level you are right now, you need to start thinking about grant funding because that is one of the ways for you to grow big.
Wow, wow, wow. Interesting, interesting, interesting. Okay, because one of the things you said is that the unique thing about grants is that you don't get to refund whatever has been given to you. And what makes that so unique? Why do you say is a unique thing to grant funding? Why?
All right. All right. Okay. So, not refunding the money is very unique because when it comes to funding sources, all right, if you're talking about loan, for instance, you have to pay loan back. That's one.
Mm,
You need a collateral. That's two. All right. And then there's a moratorium before you start paying the money back. There is interest you have to pay back as well. You pay back the capital, you pay back the interest. But for grant funding, you don't need a collateral. What you just need is a business that is working. That's number
mm.
one. So that means as a small business owner, you're able to take on grants. You can't go to the bank and tell them, "Oh, I don't have collateral." Then what it is all collateral before you're even considered for grant funding. That's one. The second thing is that you are not paying it back. From the name grants, you are being given. It is given to you to assist you, to support. If you look at my initial definition, I said it is a form of financial aid, a financial support, a financial help. So organizations that also give out grant funding because they are trying to achieve some good in the society, right? And they feel like through your organization, they can achieve that good. They can make that impact through your organization. So they are more encouraged to give you that grant funding, right? And another thing is that for grants, there are a lot of problems. We have very tough problems in this world. But profit-minded entrepreneurs will not go into those areas because they won't make money. And banks won't give you money because you won't make money back. And we need to solve those problems. That's where grant funding comes into play. So that you'll be able to tackle the biggest problems that people don't even want to go to. The problems that people are running from. Grant empowers you to go after those problems. And that is why we have grant funding. And that makes it very unique because once you know you are not paying it back and you are very committed, you want to turn that money into visible impact. And that is why it is very unique for entrepreneurs.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Grant is a unique source of funding. And one thing you said earlier on that is very important for us to elaborate on is the fact that grant is open to everyone. Is open to everyone, and this is where we will have to go to the next question because this speaks to the next question. And the next question is how can businesses identify the most suitable grant opportunities for its specific growth?
All right, all right. That's a very fantastic question. How can businesses identify the most suitable grant opportunities? Now, there is something called grant positioning. So, before you even start thinking about, I want to go after grants, you need to ask yourself, are you well positioned for grants? What sector are you playing in? This simple question can throw a lot of business owners off balance, a lot of entrepreneurs. So, you ask them, what sector are you playing in? They start thinking, I'm selling clothes. So what sector is that? They've never thought about it before, right? Some are in the food processing industry. Some are in the manufacturing industry, food processing and manufacturing. So when you ask them, what sector are you playing in? They don't know. They might just say agriculture. But agriculture is very, very big. And within agriculture, we have agri-tech, right? We have food processing. We have food packaging. So there are a lot of subsectors even within these industries. You say, oh, I'm in the medical space. That's fine. So, what other subsectors are in the medical space? We have medical tech, right? We have medical research. We have medical laboratory, right? We have testing, medical testing equipment. So, there's a lot of subsectors under this your industry that you even need to know. So, when you know the sector that you are playing in, then you can begin to look for opportunities that are attached to that sector. Some of these grant opportunities that we have around, they are sector specific. So that means that there are specific sectors that the opportunities are for. Some opportunities can be for women entrepreneurs. So that means if you're a male entrepreneur, sorry, that is not for you, right? Even if your organization is serving females, but maybe the ownership is 100% male, it's still not for you because you might except be able to argue that, oh, we are serving females, we have females amongst our staff and amongst our team members. But then knowing what you are doing, right, knowing your sector. So some funding opportunities can be for agricultural technology companies, agri-tech, purely agri-tech. So if you are just farming, if you are doing the traditional production, you might not be open to this opportunity. If you are doing processing, you might not be open to this opportunity because it says agri-tech. So we must be very clear what we are doing. So as an organization, you must be very clear which sector you are playing in, what is your subsector. You must know the SDG goals that you are working towards. You must know because if you don't know the goals you are working towards, right, you will not be able to attract the kind of opportunities that your business needs. You must know the global goals that you are solving. So the SDG goals are global goals too. That is the world's answer to the global problems. So how are you solving these problems? Which SDGs are you working towards? So once those answers are clear to you, you can now begin to search maybe online, on social media, on grant platforms, on different, in fact, within circles. When you see opportunity, you can know this one is not for me, right? Because another thing we need to talk about in this segment is alignment. Alignment. A lot of businesses, a lot of entrepreneurs, they just see a grant and they apply. They've not checked out the requirements, they've not checked out what they are looking for, they've not checked out the conditions. So they just apply and they serve them love letter. It's as simple as that. Because maybe within the requirements, they said your business must have been in operation for at least 18 months. But you just started your business last month and you're applying for a grant that says 18 months. So that means you are automatically disqualified. They might even say your business must be in operation for 2 years and you did not check, you just applied. So you must be able to check the requirements of these grant opportunities. So what are they looking for? Are you putting that? In fact, some grant opportunities now, they are based on states. So you see opportunities that say, okay, you must be in Lagos, Ogun State, and Abuja. Those are the ones the grants are for. Or some might say you must be in northern Nigeria. So you must look at all these opportunities and position yourself very well so that be you can be open and you can attract these opportunities.
Mm, interesting, interesting. You must be open so that you can attract these opportunities and being open for attractions. I mean, attraction towards opportunity. We're going to be looking at the next question, and this on your search for opportunity. So, Mr. Israel, what are the types of what are the primary types of grants? What are the primary types of grants? And this question is in twofold. Is in twofold. So just help us manage time enough to be able to explain this question. So I'll read the question again. What are the primary types of grants that are available for business growth, and how do they differ? That's one part of the question. And the other part is the key component of a successful grant proposal.
All right. Thank you very much for that question. So for the types of grants that we have, in fact, we have quite a number. And during the last question, I was able to brush some. So let's start from the broad angle of profit-minded entrepreneurs and not-for-profit entrepreneurs. So, we have persons that they are in the NGO space. Now, there is something coming up nowadays. We call it social entrepreneurship. So, let us start from these three big areas: for profits, social entrepreneurship, and NGOs. So, for profit organizations, their number one aim is profit. They just want to make profit, and they want to make maximum profit as much as possible. There are grant opportunities for them because businesses and funders that are giving them money, they want them to turn the money into profit so that the entrepreneurs can exit, so that the investors can exit and get their money back in multiples. When you invest in a business, you are looking at profit, and then you are looking at multiples of your investment. So that is for profit entrepreneurs at one end. At the other end, we have NGOs or NPOs, non-profits and non-governmental organizations. They don't make money. They don't make money. They are not for profit, right? Their own is just solving problems, social problems. That is their major focus. So any money they get, they're investing 100% into the business to solve problems. They are not looking towards profit. Now, in the middle, we now have social entrepreneurship, meaning that these people are making some profits and also they are solving social problems. So they just want to make optimum profit, meaning that a profit that is good enough. It is not maximum, but it's good enough so that people can afford it, and also it is solving problems. So it is a midpoint between for profit entrepreneurship and NGOs. And in Nigeria today and many developing countries, social entrepreneurship is gaining momentum. And this is why: for sustainability, right? For profit organizations, they are always sustainable because they are making money every day, every second, every minute. They are making money, right? On one end. NGOs are not making money. So how will they survive? They have to rely on grant funding. So they keep relying on grant funding, and grants can be very competitive. Grants has a long duration. So if they don't get grants, maybe within 3 to 6 months, that means their operations are stalled for 1 quarter, 2 quarters, and nothing is going on. How will they survive? So, but social entrepreneurship, you are making small money here. So that means the money can keep you running, the profit can keep you running until your grant application becomes successful. So that way you are making money, you are making profit to run the organization. You're also looking at partnership and collaboration and grant funding to sustain the business. So those are the three big major categories that we can talk about. Now, underneath these categories, you now have different classifications. We could have state-focused grants. So, like I said, some grant funding could be for specific states. I've seen a lot. They'll just tell you, oh, you must be in Lagos. If you are not in Lagos, you don't have any business in Lagos, please don't apply. Some for those in Kano, some from those in Ogun State or your state as well, right? So those grant funding are state specific. We also have sector specific. So within the social entrepreneurship space, within the NGO space, within the for-profit space, we still have we still have we still have what do we call it now? Sector specific, meaning that they are looking at specific sectors. So maybe it's the agricultural sector, it is the medical sector, it is the educational sector, the e-commerce sector, right? So there are different grants that are specific to this unit. So those are the different kinds of grants that we can think about. In fact, today now we have socio-cultural grants by social cultural organizations like churches. I've seen a number of churches today that are giving grants to their youths. So they will organize preaching competitions and then give them 500K, 1 million at the end of the program to the winners. And I've seen about 3 or 4 churches that have done it within last year and this year. And that's a very good one, right? So the classifications can be diverse and many. That's one. Another thing is that we have government grants. you know, State government, federal government. The federal government has been doing a lot in recent times. In fact, during the like previous administrations, during the Jonathan administration, we have the I've forgotten the name now. It's a very popular grant. I've forgotten the name now. During Buhari's regime too, we have some grant opportunities, right? Now during President Tinubu's regime, we have in fact they did one that ended about 2 months ago. That is the Nigerian Youth Investment Fund, which is a grant funding for youth in Nigeria. So we have government funds. In fact, some state governments to give out they roll out grant opportunities for small businesses or micro business owners in their state. We also now have international grants, right? These are given by international organizations. We have the likes of USA, the likes of WHO, the likes of FAO, Food and Agriculture Organization, World Health Organization, the likes of UNICEF, and from their names you can know their angles. Food and Agriculture is for agricultural organizations, UNICEF is for children and children based issues, with health, with education, with scientific reactions and opportunities for children. So we also have those kind of opportunities, so those kind of grant funding. So that's that. Then for the second part of this question, which says, what are the key components of a successful grant proposal? And
Exactly.
that's a very beautiful question. So what are the key components? So when it comes to a grant proposal, let us quickly do a skeleton. All right. So a skeleton for grant proposal. At the very top, we have the problem statement. An organization that will get grants must have a problem they are solving. So let's take
Mm-hmm.
this this session, this show, corporate life with McAden. What problem is it solving? So tonight now, we are giving listeners and participants the opportunity to learn about grant funding. So that means you are exposing the participant, the audience, to expert knowledge that can assist them in whatever they are doing in their corporate life, in their businesses, in their organizations. That's a problem.
Exactly.
So the problem must be very clear. A lot of entrepreneurs, they don't even know the problems they are solving. So it must be very clear, what problem are you solving. So after that, you know the problem you are solving. Then we'll go to the solution. What solution are you providing to solve the problem? So a lot of nowadays we now have increase in depression. People talk about their mental health. It's a big problem because if you are
Hmm.
not mentally balanced, you can't do anything. In fact, some days you just want to lie down, you don't want to move, and you are fully awake, right? So that's a problem. So how are you solving this problem? There are many approaches to solving problems. Somebody can say, oh, these mental health problems, what I'll do is I'll organize a consultancy session. It could be free, it could be paid, it could be cheap. So anyone that feels like, oh, maybe they're going through depression or maybe some heartbreaks or some love letters, you can just visit them, right? You talk to them. When you talk, you can express yourself. Then you begin to lose some of these negative emotions. Some persons can say, for me, what I'll do is hang out. You have a very fun system. You hang out with your colleagues or friends or young persons like you. So you are not thinking at all. You are just trying to be happy. You are trying to network. You're trying to connect. That's another person's approach to solving that same problem, right? Another person could say, oh, for me, maybe I'm going to come up with a technology online. So when you feel like you're depressed or you are going through some issues, you just go on that technology, maybe it's a mobile app or something, you talk to it. So how are you solving the problem? So I'm trying to give examples throughout the conversation. So you are solving the problem. Now we've talked about it. The next thing is, oh, well, what are your products and services? Your product and services. So oh, this is how you are solving the problem. Do you have products? Do you have services? So now this is more tailored towards the for-profit and the social entrepreneurs. So what products do you have? What services do you have? So as a grant consultant, well, some of my services, we have grant consultancy sessions, we have grant application packages, we have business plan packages, we have proposal packages, right? So we already have these services that we've lined out for our clients. Those are the products. So what products are you offering to the people for them to buy, for them to pay for? Even for NGOs and non-profits, do you have services that you are offering? Do you have products? We have NGOs that are manufacturing products. In fact, for instance, we have those that are visually impaired. So we have NGOs nowadays that are creating technologies to assist the visually impaired persons, and they're giving to them for free. So they have a product that you can show them. Right, that's another thing. Now we need to talk about the budget. Oh, before the budget, there is another very important one: the personnel. Who are the team members? Because you can't achieve anything alone. Even for something as this show now, you already have some team members that are working with you. You know, prior to this day, even on the show, you have some team members that are running around to ensure the program is successful. So for your organization too, who are the persons working with you to ensure that it's successful? Then after that, we talk about the budget, a very, very key part of your proposal. The budget. How much do you need? What are you using it for? How are you spending it? Organizations and funders, they want to be very sure. And one thing about your budget is that it must be reasonable. It must be reasonable. You can't just say, oh, you are going to pay for a 1 month project, you are going to pay somebody 1 million naira, one of your project personnel 1 million naira. And maybe the normal salary is like 100K or 150K, but you feel, oh, it's grant funding now, free money. So I'll just put 1 million there. Let us collect the money. Once they see that it's not reasonable, in fact, they just discard your proposal because they feel like you're trying to rip them off. So you must be reasonable with your budget. You must conduct your research, go online, even in your office, in your organization. How much do you budget for this task? Okay, for this product, how much do they sell them? But for some organizations that give you very large amount of money, they will tell you to drop quotations from a number of suppliers or vendors. So they will also cross-check by themselves because they want to be sure that what they are putting their money on really makes sense. So that is what a skeleton of a successful grant proposal is about.
Wow, wow, wow. That has been an amazing explanation. I mean, explanation, a billionaire explanation. I mean, if you are to pay for that for this session, I'm sure if we ask you to pay if a 500 token amount, I mean, just a token of 500,000 for this session, it is worth it. And that is why this session, I mean, this show is very important to you as a professional out there. If you are watching us right now, or you'll be watching us later, I know some of us will miss this particular edition, but it's very important. You come back to say thank you to Mr. Ize, who is giving us, I mean, this wonderful information and how to should be in your time, Mr. Israel, for doing this with, and because it's very important we proceed and we move with time is no friend to anybody. So we want to make sure that we cover all the questions we have for you on the show tonight. So we'll be going to the next question, and the next question, of course, is on the screen. How can businesses effectively demonstrate their potential for growth and impact when applying for grants? Because I think you mentioned something around that the
All right. All right. That's a very good question. Businesses, how can they demonstrate their potential for growth and impact? I like this question very much. I must give kudos to the team for coming up with very detailed and questions. The first thing is that they always ask, what is your vision? What is your vision? Your vision communicates how big you are seeing, how big you are thinking. Your vision communicates that. So when you're applying for grants, you must be able to communicate your vision. How big is your vision? When you are talking to some persons and you just realize that, oh, maybe this person is not even as ambitious as you are thinking. Or you talk to some entrepreneurs, they are telling you, how can we scale this business throughout your state? Oh, your state is too small for us. We are looking at Southwest Nigeria. We are expanding our offices and our shops and our outlets beyond your state to other states within Southwest Nigeria. And you're talking to another entrepreneur, and the entrepreneur is looking at Nigeria as a whole, 36 states, 200 million persons. How can we serve these people? As a entrepreneur is telling you that, oh, in the next 3 years, in the next 5 years, we are looking at Africa, sub-Saharan Africa. That is our goal. How can we expand to sub-Saharan Africa? So your vision determines that it determines how ambitious you are, number one. It also determines and tells the judge or the investor or the funding organization how much growth you are willing to create, how much impact you are willing to create. So let's give an example, like we've been doing that. Oh, maybe in some communities, in fact, in some communities today in Nigeria, they don't have good sources of drinking water. So let's assume that as social entrepreneurs, we want to create a borehole system, a borehole solution for these organizations. So, and then maybe we'll be charging them per day or per week or per houses or per bucket, whatever it is. So we already have our system. I know I'm talking about the problem now, we've gone to the solution. Now, for an entrepreneur can just say, if we just serve a local government, we are fine. Just one borehole, we serve one local government. But let's say let's try two boreholes in a local government. So how much are we looking at? Maybe ₦1 million max. But then another organization can tell you that for this borehole solution, we are looking at northern Nigeria. Right now there is flooding going on in northern Nigeria. Their sources of drinking water has been destroyed, and a number of states have been affected. So now we are looking at 6 states at the very beginning, and in each state we are targeting 5 boreholes each in each state times 60. That is 30 borehole system. And now if a borehole system is 500K times 30, you're already looking at 15 million naira, right? So the person you are talking to can already see that, oh, this person is looking beyond one state, he's looking at 6 states. And if you can solve this problem, you can even scale it to Nigeria. Do you understand now? So from our vision alone, we are already communicating our potential for growth. We are communicating where we are going to, and they can see through our eyes. That's the first thing. How to demonstrate your potential for growth. The second thing, and this is very important for social entrepreneurs and for profit organizations, is your market size. What is your market size? How large is the market? There is this stuff that we used to that we used to mention in the business parlance. Would say ensure that there is a gap in the market, and make sure that there's a market in the gap. So there's a gap in the market, and then in that gap there is a market in that gap. What does it mean? Nigeria is a 200 million country, right? We have 200 million population according to popular statistics. Now, what gap do we have in Nigeria? For instance, mobile phone. How many percent of Nigeria has mobile phones? That's a question. How many percent of these people that have mobile phones have smartphones? The number will reduce, right? So for an organization that is providing internet connectivity solutions, now in fact, one of the reasons why we are starting this show late is because we've had network issues. So let's assume an organization that want to solve these network issues for us. They have to start thinking, how many persons among these 200 million Nigerians can afford reliable, super fast internet access? So now they begin to look, okay, so let's say out of 200 million Nigerians, about 100 million or 120 million have smartphones, or they have mobile phones. So out of these 120 million, 80 million have smartphones. That's one. Out of these 80 million that have smartphones, about 20 million of them have serious things they are doing online. They must be online. If not because God answered our prayer tonight, maybe the forces of internet and network do not let us have this meeting. So the person, 20 million have serious things they are doing online. So that means 20 million persons could potentially afford our products. So now we are talking about the market size, about 20 million people. Now, out of these 20 million persons, some might be, they have, let's call them low income, we have middle income, we have high income. So if we look at maybe those in the middle income, maybe they're like 10 million out of the 20 million. Those that are in the medium income, let's say they're about 3 million. And then those that are in the high income, maybe they're like 1 million or 2 million. So you can begin to see that, oh, even if we serve 1 million customers in Nigeria, that's a whole lot of money. So you can see the market size. I've been able to break it down from the total available market down to the serviceable available market. So out of 200 million, we have about 20 million that could potentially get our product. So out of the 20 million, we can start with 1 million that can afford our product right now. They can pay for it. So those are the ones that will be marketing to. So by the time you are talking like that to an investor, they already see, okay, so that means we can start serving 1 million persons. But in the next 2 3 years, we still have about 20 million to still go and save. We're not even looking at the 180 million that we've not started saving. And that is a massive market right there. That's why right now you see a lot of foreign organizations coming into Nigeria every day, everywhere, because they see the market. It's very large. They also want to come and take their parts in the market. That is why we see them coming in almost every day. And this is what has shown them from their market analysis, from their feasibility studies. They can see the potential for growth. And another thing is Nigeria is a very youthful market. And the youths are getting married, they become parents, they are giving birth to new persons. So the market is continually expanding, it's growing. And there is a statistics that says that in the next, I think in 2050, that Nigeria will be the top, to be number three most populous country in the world. So that is a market to target. And that's just how many years from now? About 2 3 decades. And that is two ways to demonstrate your potential for growth and impact.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I love those analyses you just gave and need to express, to explain that particular question. And I won't want to dive into further question on that. I don't want to build up another question over that question so that we can catch up with time because time is really moving against us. And then let's quickly move on to the next question because of our time. And the next question is what common mistakes? Because now we now understand things we need to do. So, what are the common mistakes? What common mistakes should businesses avoid when applying for grants? What are those common? And sometimes we may not even see it as mistakes.
All right, very good question. What are the mistakes that businesses should avoid when they're applying for grants? Very good question. So I would say number one mistake is the mindset. What
Hmm.
mindsets are you approaching the grants with? So initially, when we started, I mentioned the fact that some persons already have negative mindsets. They feel like I can't get grants. Grants is just for some special people. You must remove that from your mind. Another mindset is I'm going to do what it takes to see that I win. If I don't win now, I'll try again. That's another mindset. So you see that the difference in mindset can influence your final result. That's the first mistake that you should avoid. A very wrong mindset, a limiting mindset is something that you should avoid. Another mistake that you should avoid is not being not being registered. So let me just say it as straight as that. Not being registered. A lot of persons want to get grant funding, but they are not registered with the government. They don't have they have not registered their company. All they have is an idea. The truth is that if you are not registered, it shows that you are not ready to play with the big boys yet. Right?
Hmm.
It means that you are not ready to go all out. Your due diligence is not complete. So registering is part of due diligence, registering with the government because it shows that you're actually serious. You want to be socially responsible to your government, right? You are accountable to the government. It also means that you are traceable because once you are registered with the government, you have to drop your national ID card, you have to drop your address, you have to drop your shareholders and your directors and other things like that. So it means that you are traceable. If somebody gives you 10 million naira, for instance, they know that you can't run away with their money, right? Because even if you want to run away, they know where to track you. So it gives them confidence to invest in you. So you have to get registered. Another thing is that another mistake, a lot of entrepreneurs apply with just idea. And you see people
Hmm.
when they're talking about their idea, they'll tell you that I don't want to share my idea with anybody because if I share, they will steal it.
Hmm.
Say, my idea can disrupt the whole internet system. My idea is the new solution to Nigeria's problems, Nigerian internet problems. My solution will disrupt the transportation sector, to disrupt the transportation system. Okay, what have you done? Nothing.
Hmm.
So it is all mouth. Oh, my solution is, but you've not started doing something. So that means that if you've not started doing anything, if you don't believe in your idea enough to even invest your own money to try, why should somebody else believe in
Hmm.
you? That's the
Good.
question. So that's the
Very
first thing.
good.
The other thing is, yeah. So the other thing is that if if 100 persons are applying for a grant and they need just 5 people to be the final winners, and you only have ideas, and some other persons have been doing something with their own idea, who do you think will be favored? You that you have an idea, or someone that is already doing something? Of course, it will be the person that is already doing something, because you already know that you can see what he's doing. If he has a little support, he will do more. But you that you've not even started doing anything, so if we give you money, you are not even sure that you invest it in what you say you will do, because you've not tested the market. There are maybe challenges in the market. There's a lot of things there in the market that you can't control. So if we give you the money, you might end up not using it to do what you want to do. And with the increase in the inflation nowadays, it's very high. It's everyday prices are changing. So if you've not even started doing anything, how will you make an appropriate budget? How will you know the costs that are changing every day? You won't be able to make a very good argument. Everything you just be talking about will be potential. Also, if we do this, we'll be able to get this. But someone that's in the market can tell you that, oh, yesterday we went to the market, we bought this product at 500 naira. Last week it was 450 naira. So if we don't buy it by next week, we are going to buy it at 600 naira. So you're already knowing that, oh boy, this person knows what he's talking about. So if you are giving him money, we better give him now so that he can buy it at 500 naira instead of buying it at 600 naira in the next 2 weeks or 3 weeks. So if you've not done anything with your idea, this is a challenge to you to start something with your idea. Start with your own money. Start with if you are very interested in the idea, start with it. There's this program that I used to organize, and somebody, one of the guests that we invited, it's a gathering of youth, he now said something. He said, it is people like you now that the government is looking for, because we can see what you're already doing. So we give you money, we
Mm-hmm.
know where it is going into. Imagine that I was just talking about idea. Oh, so if you give me money, so we'll be able to use it. They can't see. But with what I've done now, they know that I believe in the idea so much to invest my own money. So if somebody else gives me money, he can rest assured that he will still use the money for what he's doing.
Mm.
So those are the very common mistakes that people make that really hinder them from getting grants.
Interesting, interesting. I love the aspect of the mindset because everything starts from the mind. My mentor used to say something. He said, everything created, everything that ever existed or will exist or is exist, they are created twice. And the first production is in the mind. If you can, then it can exist in the physical. So create it first, and then the second part now start putting hands together, start getting money to buy this and that. So thank you very much for. So moving question, I think that sort of to comment on. And this is the half question, and then we want to, I mean, respond very fast. I mean, so that we can save time, because time is very, our time is very fast spent. So the next question is, how can businesses ensure compliance with grant requirements and regulations throughout the funding period?
All right, very beautiful question again. So the first thing in ensuring compliance, right? So I've mentioned some aspects of the compliance, which is you're getting registered. Getting registered. That's your first system of compliance that you have to do. You must be registered. The other part is you must be tax compliant. You must be tax compliant. A number of nowadays federal government grants they are very serious about tax compliance. So we ask you for your tax certificate, your tax identification number, your TIN, right? They ask you. And then if you want foreign grants, those ones are even very serious with it, because they don't want it to cheat your government, right? So they want to know, where are you paying your are you being responsible towards your government? So your tax compliance is another thing that you really need to take cognizance of. A lot of entrepreneurs will say that, oh, I'm not big yet. I'm not even, in fact, I don't know. If you pay money to the government, they will embezzle it. You pay your own first. have the certificates, have the documentation. It will really, really help you. So you must watch for that tax compliance. Another thing is in your money management system. How much is coming in, how much is going out, how is it going out, what is it going out into, right? You must be able to document all these things because nowadays a lot of organizations, I mean funding organizations, they ask for your audited financial statement. Your audited financial statement. So they want to know how very um how detailed you are, how diligent you are, and how responsible you are with your finances. So you must be able to track how much so when you are talking to an entrepreneur, you can tell them, or you're an investor. Also last year our operating budget was 1,000 naira or was 1 million naira for our organization. And this year we are looking at 2.5 million naira as our operating budget. And last year we got our funding sources were from three major sources. Well, grants accounted for 10%. And this year we are looking at expanding grants to about 30%. All right. So being able to talk about your numbers, and for profit entrepreneurs, you should be able to talk about your numbers very well, right? We sell how many units? We sell 1,000 units. From 1,000 units, we are making how much money? I mean revenue. So and how much profit are we making? You should be able to talk about all these things, right? It is very, very important. And with regards to regulations, right? Depending on your sector now, there are some regulatory agencies and bodies that are in this in your space. So for instance, if you're in the manufacturing place, we have the Standards Organization of Nigeria, SON. So they want to know, your organization must be SON certified to show that what you are manufacturing is actually it actually makes sense, right? You also have NIS. You must be certified so that they know that what you are actually doing really, really makes sense and it's fit for maybe international for the international market. That's another one. For the food industry, we have the likes of NAFDAC, right? Your NAFDAC registration is very important. In fact, supermarkets and big supermarkets now, they won't take your products if you are not registered with NAFDAC. So those are some of the regulations that you need to take note of. In fact, it's very good that you prepare for them ahead of seeking for grant funding. You need to prepare for them ahead. And once you just search for your space and ask yourself or ask mentors or coaches in that space, what are the regulatory agencies here? What are the regulatory conditions? So I've just mentioned the ones that I'm familiar with. And then if you're going into the financial sector, for instance, now that one's even massive, right? The
Mm.
federal government is regulating a lot of things in that financial space. There is the cyber security aspect, there is the data security aspect. So you must be compliant with all these things so that you don't run foul of the government and be penalized. So those are the regulations that you really need to pay attention to for grant funding.
Time for so the next one for long time your the initial funding.
All
Hello,
right,
are
all
you
right.
able
Can
to?
you hear me?
Yes, I can
Yes.
hear you. Can you hear me?
All right. Yes, I can hear you. And I can also see the question strategies that businesses can use, right, to leverage grant funding beyond the initial funding period. Okay, so a key element of this is keeping proper records and ensuring proper communications. So for everything that you are doing in your organization, right, you must keep records. You must keep records. Data is life. There is a quote that I read some time ago that said, "In God we trust. Every man must bring data." Meaning that we only trust God. When it comes to human relations, we need data. If you are talking about impact, let's see the data. If you are talking about your team, let's see the data. we are talking about profit, let's see your data, right? So being able to keep proper data is something that will help you to um achieve subsequent funding. So someone that an organization that has funded you before can still fund you again. That's one. If they see that, oh, you are aligning with what they are doing, they see that you are very responsible with the amount they're giving you. Maybe they gave you $5,000 last month, and they realize that, oh, this $5,000 I will give this guy, he used it 100%. He did what he said he was going to do. He achieved his milestones. He achieved his targets. Okay, so that means if we give him like $10,000, he will even do more. Maybe with $5,000, he empowered 10 persons. So if we give him $10,000 now, he won't just empower 20, he might empower 30 persons. So now they can do that for you. But how will they do that if you are not keeping proper records? And if you are not showing it, so on one hand, you must keep proper records. The other side, you must show it. You must publicize it, right? What you are doing, nowadays, in fact, thank God for social media and content creation. A lot of persons are able to talk about what they do. So if you don't talk about what you do, how will people know? So you must be able to talk about what you do. Oh, we've been able to impact this number of persons. If you say, oh, you're a public speaker, you should be able to show us pictures and videos of places where you've spoken before, right? Of the impact that you've made. You must be able to show us the impact. So when you say, oh, you gave me $10,000, we're able to help 300 persons, and we can see the women, we can see the impact in their life. That way, you'll be able to secure follow-on funding. Another thing is maintaining strategic partnerships and collaborations. With this organization, you maintain relationship with them, you ensure consistent communication, you let them know what you're doing, you let them know how you are furthering your goals and how you are aligned with each other. So organizations that are aligned together can work together, and they can also be a source of funding for you.
Wow, wow, interesting. Organization that aligns together can work together. So align with organization that will fund you. Thank you very much, Mr. Israel, once again. It's been a wonderful conversation here, and I think we've clocked. We've spent 1 hour already on the show, but because of the importance of today's conversation, we're going to make sure we exhaust all questions because they're very, very important for learning and for your business growth and sustenance. So thank you so much. We'll be moving straight to the next question. And I think the next question is this particular one. How can business I mean, track and report on outcome and benefits of grant funding to stakeholders? Because I think you mentioned earlier that relates to this reporting.
Yes. So how can businesses track and report, yeah, on the outcomes of grant funding to stakeholders? All right. So from the beginning, right, you need to clearly identify who your stakeholders are, from the internal customers, to the external customers. External customers like your consumers or your users or the regulatory agencies that we've mentioned or the investors, right? You must identify who these stakeholders are, and then how are you going to engage them. For some stakeholders, you engage them every day. For instance, your team members, you engage them every day. Your users that are using your product. So if it's a daily use product, they use it every day. If it's maybe a 1 week use product or service, maybe they use it at that time interval. For the regulatory agencies, maybe it is just quarterly or monthly. So for tax, for instance, maybe your VAT is monthly, right? So you already know what are the periods of communication, of engaging with them. And then for your grant funders, it might be based on milestones. So maybe the grant period, the grant duration is, let's say, 6 months or 1 year. And then within that period, they already have milestones about 2 or 3 times. Because for them to even give you money, they won't give you all the money at once. They will likely give you in tranches that are tied to milestones. Right. So you already know that the next time you are speaking with this investor or this grant funder is when we achieve this milestone at this specific date. So once you know that, you need to keep your record. There are different tools that you can use to keep records nowadays, right? Different tools, different platforms, online tools and technologies as well. And it's likely that these organizations, I mean the grant funders, they have their own preferred tools, based on where they are coming from, based on the organization that is funding them. It's interesting to know that these funding organizations too, they are funders. So people fund them. Some organizations fund them so that they can fund you. So right, so they'll have this medium of communication. So if you are not communicating with them too, that means they can't communicate to their own backers and people that are sponsoring them and supporting them. That is why it's important for you to communicate with them, right? And then there is something called monitoring and evaluation. It's a very key part of projects today, monitoring and evaluation. So every day as you execute the project, you are gathering data. Everything is data. People use your product is data. People don't use it is data. Is insight. So you can begin to gather all these insights. Another thing is stories. Stories, because stories show benefit. Stories show benefit. Oh, maybe someone was struggling with whatever. So let's assume maybe it's pregnant women, right? Maybe they have difficulty during pregnancy. They are not able to track their periods. I mean their trimesters. Their so that they will know when is the expected due date and all. And you come up with a solution that helps them to track their pregnancy so that they can properly prepare for their delivery date. Something like so. When somebody is telling that kind of story, you can see the journey, right? And that can show the benefits. Oh, before, pregnant women are not able to track their pregnancy period, so they're not able to prepare. And then that means they give birth in an emergency kind of period. They are not well prepared. They don't even, in fact, nothing is available. But with this our solution, they can track it to maybe a 90% accuracy. And then you have stories. You can now show beneficiaries, and then we have about two or three pregnant women that are now showing and they can talk, oh, truly, we use this product and truly helped us. We're able to prepare. Oh, my husband was able to look for money, and myself, I was able to, you know, put things in place so that I will have a very safe and seamless delivery. So all these stories will really help. So stories is a way of communicating benefits to stakeholders. In fact, some organizations will go as far as telling you that they want to speak with those beneficiaries because by themselves they want to confirm. That's one. Number two is that they want to amplify it because when you share a story of impact, they can also amplify it to their own audience. They can show it to their backers that you see what your money has done for us. So if you give us more money, we can create more impact in the society. So that is why storytelling, story capturing, gathering data, monitoring and evaluation will really help to communicate the benefits and the outcomes to your stakeholders.
Wow. Thank you very much for that. Storytelling is another area in writing content, sharing content story, testimonials, and the likes. So we're not going there tonight, but then I think it's another part of grant writing that we need to learn from. I mean, it's an interesting conversation so far. It's been an educative one. I have to calm my spirit as against watching time. But then comparing loss to knowledge not shared on this show is very, very, very crucial for me on the show because what's the sense if the knowledge is not fully gained? So that's why we'll continue with the show. I with utmost attention to time. Please help us respond to this question. What role do partnership and collaboration play in enhancing the success of grant application?
All right, thank you very much. So, what role do partnerships and collaborations play? Partnerships and collaborations are very, very important. They are very important. Number one is for your venture, all right, for your organization itself. Partnerships can help you execute more projects, can help you do more than you would do alone. That's one. The other thing is that when you communicate to potential funders or funding organizations that you're in partnership with, for instance, let's say a ministry in your field, or let's say an organization, maybe a commercial institution in your field, it shows that people believe in your idea. That's what it means. It means that you are not doing it alone. So if we want to help teenage girls, for instance, now want to help them, or teenage boys, and it's only your organization that is going to do it, a lot of things can go wrong. But let's say it is not your organization. You have like 3 or 4 organizations that are going with you. You have a media company that will help you capture the moment and build the memories. That one is there. You have an organization that is giving you books to share to the teenage girls and teenage boys on living responsible lives, on having a vision. You have those ones. You have an organization that is saying that when you go to this kind of school, they are young children. Let's give them snacks and drinks so that they will listen to the lecture from the beginning to the end. That's another partnership. And then you are the brain box of the idea. You have worked on the proposals, you have gone to the schools, you have secured the dates, you've gotten the venue. Now we have 4 organizations that are working on that particular project, right? So what it means is that for these 4 organizations, for these 4 organizations, all of you are working in line. You are working in line. That means the risk is spread across the 4 organizations and the impact is shared by the organizations, right? That makes it very, very important, and it tells the funders that, oh, these people are not working alone. That is one for you. Another thing too, I've been able to see how that one will help you sell your idea and ensure that you get grant funding. Because another reason, let me please chip this in, is that some grants might be too much for your organization to handle alone. Because I've been in rooms where the funders will tell you that if the amount of money you're asking for is not up to a cap, they don't talk to you. So for instance now, maybe an organization is looking for just 1 million naira, and another organization can say that, okay, for us, we only write tickets from 10 million naira. So if your project is not up to 10 million naira, don't talk to us. We are not your funders, right? So but then how will you get that kind of grants? So partnership. So you alone, maybe your own operating budget is 250K. So the other organization has an operating budget of maybe 500K. Another one's like 100. By the time you even add all your operating budgets together, it's already about 2 million naira. And then you already have capacities of all these organizations together. So that means you you are able to work on the project together and you're able to take this funding as a unit, as a consortium. That's one of the benefits for organizations. Then another thing, in terms of ensuring the sustainability of your business, is that some of these development organizations, when they see that what you are doing is fine, they can decide to partner with you, right, through funding. So they say they are partnering with you, but they're also giving you funding to execute your project in alignment with their goals. So this way, partnerships will help you to ensure the sustainability of your business, that you never run out of money, and then that you are able to execute big projects together.
It crossed my mind to ask you this question, even though it's not on the list of tonight. Uh, uh, Going in information as a part to an organization. I know from experience, you should be able to explain, understand the uniqueness of Nigerians and Nigerian business practices.
Sorry, please, can you go over the question again?
Okay. Um, question also for before partnership.
Ah, network is actually affecting. I did not get the question very well.
some
Yes.
seconds there. So my question is, how can you be sure of whom you are partnering with? Uh, be sure of the intention of your partner. Let me just put it that way in a simple form.
Okay, right. Um, yeah, I really can understand where you're coming from, right? Because we are Nigerians, we know how this thing go. Right? Yeah, so it's all about doing your assignment, right? It's all about doing your assignment. So you really need to do an extensive research. You don't rush into partnership. Don't rush into partnership. I think I need to say that again. Don't rush into partnership. A lot of persons are in a rush. What are you rushing in for? If you rush into partnership, you rush out of it. So take your time, you know, do your due diligence, do your research on the potential partner. In fact, I wrote an article on online. I think maybe I'll look for it and maybe post it tomorrow about someone that wanted to invest in an organization. They were disturbing them. Oh, we want to invest in you, want to give you grant funding. No, it's not even grant, it was equity. So they came in the form of grants, but they now from grant they turned it to equity so that they will take part of their company. Then from there, during your assignment phase, they now, in fact, they were almost signing the document. So one of them just said that wait, let us even check this organization. What have they done in the society? So they just went on social media. When they went there, they saw that the company social media pages they are blank, doesn't have anything. Maybe it's a mistake. They checked other social media platform, same thing. They checked on on the internet to find out. They realized that this company too was just starting up, so they just wanted to take advantage of them. So imagine they had rushed into it and signed the document, right? That means they would have lost a part of the organization. When you sign anything, it goes into law. So don't rush into partnerships. If you rush into it, you rush out. You must do your assignment, do your due diligence. Another thing is another thing is that you should interact with coaches and mentors, right? Let them know, speak with them to guide you, to support you, so that they can also give you they can give you some suggestions and give you guidance, right? Guidance is very, very important. So they can give you guidance into how you can go about it. And I think the last thing I'll say is your intuition. Intuition is very powerful. So if your mind tells you that you should be careful, then you should be careful. If your mind tells you that, oh, don't do it yet, then don't do it yet. Because our mind is very powerful, right? It might pick up vibrations. In the Christendom, we call it the spirits of God, Holy Spirit, and stuff like that. But in non-spiritual circles, talk about the mind. They might have picked up vibrations like, oh, this person's the vibe they are emitting is not good enough. You might not be able to explain why, but your mind is just telling you that don't do it yet. So if you rush into it, you now realize that, oh boy, I made a mistake. And if you pull back later, you now realize, oh, thank God that I did not go into it. So your intuition is very powerful and you should listen to it.
Listen to your mind. So your this mind when it comes to business are powerful. So I'm gonna ask this last question. On the- how can business and maintain relationship with grant fund opportunities?
Okay, how can businesses build and maintain relationship? All right. To maintain relationships is very, very, well, not so easy, but it's simple. We talked about it. Be very active on the internet, on social media. You need to talk about what you do. Show what you do. A lot of people can talk, but not a lot of people can do. So the
Mm-hmm.
doing separates the result producers from just the whiners. So be among the doers. But don't just do, show. Show it. I lost some opportunities in the past because I don't like bragging about myself. I don't like bragging about what I've done. But I realized that if I had been talking about them, I was looking at it as bragging, but it was not bragging. because I got those results, right? And the thing about all these grant funding organizations, they will check you out. They will check you out. So if you are not talking about it, or you are being very tight-lipped about it, you don't want to talk about it much, then they won't know that you can do it. They can't see, they don't have they can't see through your spirit. They will only see what you've posted. They only see what you've done. So talk about it. That's a good way to know that, to keep them in the loop of what you are doing. Another thing is, you can maybe send them reports. Maybe they funded you before now, right? So you have a correspondence link with them. So you can share your progress report with them, maybe annually, maybe every 6 months, right? You can just share your progress reports, especially if you are getting very good reports, very good progress. So you can share with them, oh, within the last 6 months, we've been able to get on board 1,000 more customers. We've gotten two new partners. We've been able to create two new jobs, right? So carrying them along with, we let them know that, oh, you are doing very, very well. Right? So those are the ways that you can maintain relationships with them. And as the entrepreneur, as the founder, as the CEO, whatever, you must talk about what you do, because it's very important. I'm repeating it again. Don't light your candle and put it under a bushel, right? Put it on a candlestick so that everyone can see it. Everyone can see the light that is shining. And that is when light is shining, you can attract opportunities to yourself.
But I was going to add to what you said earlier. So also, so much for sharing your weight of knowledge with us on the show, and I'm sure the correct version of the show, they will be able to enjoy the benefits of being here with us, and then you will be able to join us live on other section on the corporate live show, so that you can have action with us on the show. Thank you much for taking a back. I mean, it's for tonight. So thank you once again. Thank you. So, uh, emotion. It's been a powerful session. It's been an eye-opening session on the show tonight. We'll to Mr. Israel. But before we say goodbye to Mr. Israel, any last word from you, Mr. Israel?
Yeah, I think I'll end with the fact that grant is available for almost any kind of business, just like we started with. But you must be willing to do the work. You must be willing to put in the work. You must be willing to develop the mindset to get grants. And you realize that those that are getting grants, they are just like you, just that they've learned the rules and they're applying the rules. And that's why they're getting the grants. And if you do that too, you can also get the grant as well.
Grant is for everyone, and if you learn the rules and you apply the rules, definitely grants you are pursuing will also be yours in a very, very short. Thank you much with McAden. Tonight's episode, of course, we do not. I will look back and then learn from those challenges. But this is the Corporate Life Show. And until we meet again next time, stay tuned and follow us on our social media platform. Follow us on Facebook, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on Instagram. All those platforms you can get insightful information on how you can develop yourself, whether in terms of business or professional pursuit. Thank you again once again. From all of us here, I want to say you bye bye for now.